I'm a registered nurse, certified aromatherapist and founder of Health Drops Academy. And today we are going to chat about 7 myths around essential oils and aromatherapy. If you ever googled essential oils or DIY recipes, I'm sure you come across advice that made you go, wait, how is this even possible? Why everyone says something different? You're not alone and you're not wrong. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And a lot of these myths come from a mix-up between marketing strategies, random internet recipes, and what real aromatherapy actually is. My goal today is really simple, is to help you figure out what's true, what's not true, and how to make choices that actually support you and your family. Let's start with one of the biggest ones. Lavender disrupts hormones or affects development. This one is a really big one. I cannot even count how many times people ask me about this. And I want to slow this down for a moment because it's been taken far out of context. The idea that lavender disrupts hormones comes from a very small number of case reports. It's not big, well-designed studies. It's not clinical evidence. And even in those reports, important details were missing, like what product was actually used, what ingredients were in it, whether if it even contained real lavender essential oil. Most products had lavender fragrance. This part matters more than people realize because there is a big difference between lavender essential oil and lavender fragrance. Lavender essential oil is a natural substance that is distilled from the flowering tops of the lavender plant. Its chemistry is very well known, is well studied, and it is safe when used in the recommended percentages. Lavender fragrance, on the other hand, is usually a synthetic blend made to smell like lavender. It can contain dozens of lab-made aroma chemicals, many of which they don't exist in the plant at all, and they are not required to be listed individually on the labels, so they just put lavender fragrance. When a product just says lavender on the front, that doesn't actually tell us much because we don't know if it's true lavender essential oil or a synthetic fragrance. We cannot draw real conclusions about safety. Most of the products you buy in the supermarket that says lavender, they are lavender fragrance. So it's not real essential oil. When we step back and look at the full body of evidence, there is no convincing clinical trials that says a lavender essential oil causes hormonal disruption. Lavender has been used safely for generations, including with children. And this is something that I say again and again. Safety is never about fear, it's about understanding. What matters is what you're using, how much you're using, and how you are using it. Most of the problems we see, they don't come from the essential oil themselves. They come from poor quality products, misuse, or using fragrance instead of essential oil. The oils aren't the problem, confusion is the problem. Let's reframe that. Lavender essential oil is safe when used correctly. It's not the same as synthetic lavender fragrance. That leads us to myth 2. If it's homemade or DIY, it must be natural. Now this one surprises a lot of people because we tend to assume that if it's handmade, especially if it's sold at the market or on Etsy, it must automatically be 100% natural. But that is not always true. I remember walking through a local market in London and I was picking up this beautiful hand cream. It was a gorgeous jar, really nice label, all the right words in the front. It said natural, handmade, botanical, but I could smell this really intense sweet aroma, even without opening the jar. Even my partner, that is not an aromatherapist, he said to me, that's chemical. And I turned the jar around, I looked at the ingredients, and there it was. Fragrance. And that's the thing, even in handmade products, that word usually means a synthetic scent blend. It's not essential oils. Some people use that because, not because they are mean, but because it's cheaper and because it's a stronger smell and it lasts longer on the shelf. Unless you really know what you're looking for, you will never know the difference. Or if you have a good nose, you might. Products, they look natural. And it's sold by a lovely person. It feels amazing, but the ingredients tell a different story. Let's reframe that. DIY doesn't automatically mean clean or natural. Now, myth 3. You need to be intuitive or creative to make DIY products with essential oils. People tell me, I'm just not intuitive enough for oils, or I'm not creative enough for DIY. I always smile because that was exactly me at the beginning. I was probably the most uncreative kid in the world. In art class, everyone else would make a really nice painting, colorful masterpiece thing, and I remember I had this painting with some rectangles and I called it modern art. It was really not creative or artistic. When I was learning about essential oils, I honestly thought everyone else had some kind of secret sense that I didn't have, because I would read things like, just feel into the oil. And I was like, feel what? Feel what exactly? I wanted clear answers. I've always been very scientific. I love maths, I love biology, chemistry. I like facts, structure, knowing what's what. And that's exactly how I approach aromatherapy. I wanted to know what works, why it works, and how to use it safely. I didn't want to be the guess and hope for the best. But here's what I learned. Working with essential oils isn't about being gifted or mystical or creative. It's about understanding the oils, understanding their properties, their strengths, and how to use them properly. It's a bit like cooking, you know? You don't need intuition to make a good soup. You just need to know the ingredients, the amounts, and how to do it, right? Once you've got that, then you can start adjusting things and getting creative with time. That's what happens with essential oils too. Once you have a solid foundation, the confidence will just flow from there. And yeah, intuition and creativity will grow over time, but they grow from knowledge, not instead of it. That's why I focus so much on education, because when you understand what you're using and why, you will just stop relying random recipes online or second guess yourself. You will trust your choices because you know where that's coming from. You don't need a special gift to do this. You just need clear guidance. And once you have that, everything starts to fall into place. You don't need intuition, you need understanding. Myth number 4, DIY is messy and unreliable. It can feel chaotic, especially if you follow the random recipe online that says something like, add a splash of this, add a few drops of that, and you're just like hoping for the best. I've been there. Early on, I made a body butter that looked fine while it was warm. It looked okay. Okay, I nailed this, fine. And then it cooled down. Once it was cooled, there was this grainy, weird texture. I completely messed it up. But what I realized later was that the problem is me. You know that it's not you, it's me routine? Yeah, it was me. I didn't know what I was doing. That's what happens when you learn on your own. It's messy, It's a lot of trial and error, and it takes a long time to get better. When you have a clear guidance, when you have good recipes, proper measurements, and proper ingredients that you know they are going to do what's supposed to do, everything changes. That's when your products will come out right at the same time. And when you know you're doing, they come out exactly the same, and they are good for your body, and they are easier to trust because you know exactly what's inside them. That's the moment when DIY doesn't feel messy and just starts feeling really empowering. So let's reframe that. DIY only feels messy when there's no structure. Myth number 5. You need loads of time to DIY. This is a common one. A lot of people just picture DIY as spending hours in the kitchen, bowls everywhere, measuring cups all over the place, and a big mess to clean up at the end, right? But in real life, a cleaning spray takes 3 minutes or maybe less. You can make a roller blend, the ones with the roller bottle, 2 to 3 minutes. Once you know the basics, it's actually quicker than going to the shop. And here's the part that no one really talks about. It saves you time in the long run because you're not doing last minute pharmacy runs, you're not checking labels all the time, you're not overthinking because you already know what works for you and what works for your family, so you just crack on and do it. It's so much better. So DIY only feels time consuming until you know what you're doing. Myth number 6. If it didn't work instantly, it failed. I hear a lot of people saying that natural just don't work for them. It won't cut it. The truth is, we are used to painkillers and quick fixes to expect instant results. You take something, the pain goes away. Job done. But these medications work by inhibiting certain functions that our body naturally has. And natural remedies, they actually work with your body, not against it. And they support what's already happening. Things like calming your nervous system, helping your immune system do its job, or easing inflammation over time. Sometimes the win isn't my headache disappeared in 5 minutes. Sometimes the win looks more like you slept more deeply, or you felt calmer in your body, or you recovered faster than you usually would. And that still counts. That counts a lot. I will give you a real example from my own life. There was a phase where I was really struggling with sleep. Falling asleep was okay, but then staying asleep was really hard. I made myself a sleep inhaler, and some nights it worked beautifully. I will use it, I will settle down and drift off to sleep again. It was perfect. But then there was other nights that it didn't work so well. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I just felt really disappointed. I started questioning myself, like, do I actually know what I'm doing? Are my blends even any good? Am I a total fraud? This is all a lie. But when I stopped and really paid attention, I realized something important. Even on the nights I didn't fall back asleep straight away, my body was calm. My breathing was slow and steady, my muscles were relaxed, my nervous system was settled. I just didn't go back to sleep. That's when it clicked. The oil wasn't the problem. It's very obvious, but it turned out that I'm incredibly sensitive to coffee. I know, it's very silly, right? I love coffee, but when I take it every day, it affects my sleep at night. So I stopped drinking coffee. Well, I stopped drinking coffee every day. I still drink sometimes because I love coffee. But then, when I stopped drinking every day, the sleep inhaler started working again. Not because I changed my blend or It was just because I removed the thing that was fighting against my body, which was the caffeine. Natural remedies aren't magic fixes, they are support tools. They help the body do what it's already capable of doing, but they just cannot override everything else. Let's reframe that. Natural support works with the body, and that's a good thing. Myth number 7. You have to choose between natural remedies and medicine. I'm a nurse and aromatherapist. I've seen both worlds. And the truth is, medicine absolutely saves lives. There is no doubt about that. But I've seen so many times where medications get prescribed that probably weren't even needed. Sometimes it's the system pressure, sometimes it's the big pharma influence, sometimes it's just habits. And hey, I'm not judging doctors. I know most of them have really good intentions. They just don't know how to do it better. That's how the system works. Natural remedies, on the other hand, either aromatherapy, essential oils, herbs, they are amazing for prevention, for everyday support, for recovery, and for building resilience. They help with little things that long before a prescription is even needed, and they keep helping long after. There was this time that I had a really strong abdominal pain. I couldn't get comfortable in any position. It was just so painful that every position hurt. I tried one of my pain blends, but honestly, it didn't do much. Eventually, I took paracetamol and Buscopan, and that helped. Then I continued using my own blends afterwards, and I didn't need to take any more painkillers afterwards. I just took the Buscopan and paracetamol once. The point is, real empowerment comes from knowing when to use what. It's not just blindly trusting pharma for every little thing, but not rejecting medicine completely either. Just being informed, find a balance, be intentional, be confident in the choices that you make for yourself and for your family at that particular time. You don't need to be extreme, you need to be smart, you need to be balanced. And that's the real empowerment. So let's reframe that. You don't have to choose, you can use both, but you need to use them wisely. Okay, so that is all the myths explained. Let me know in the comments if there is anything that I forgot. And I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.